Hello, I'm Ashu, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. In this special episode, I'm going to quickly explain the LINEDSCAPE book reviewing system that I developed to use for my book reviews. Let's switch on the reading lamp. In this episode, I will answer three questions: why, how, what. That will cover everything about the extremely useful LINEDSCAPE system. Number one, why did I feel the need for a book rating system of my own? When I first began working on the idea of reviewing books, I searched online for a ready made system. I wanted a foolproof system that said, okay, these are the 5 or 10 parameters that are important for reviewing and rating a book. You read a book and you plug your scores for these parameters into the system, and voila, you have a book rating. I wanted a solid, repeatable, reliable system. I couldn't find such a system. So, after a lot of searching and thinking, I said to myself, don't waste your time. Design the system that you want. And then that's what I did. Number two, how did I come up with the LINEDSCAPE system? I made a list of everything that is important to me when I read a book. For example, the characters, the writing style, the language, the suspense, the takeaways from the book, and so on. I wrote these points down as they occurred to me and kept adding to the list. I also spoke to several friends who are also avid book readers and asked them what were the things that mattered to them in a book. After I collected all this data, I realized that there are certain things or points that are important for majority of book readers, like the plot, characters, entertainment value, and so on. I made a list of all such common things and finally chose 10 different parameters that, in my opinion, cover all the aspects of a book that make it an interesting read. I'm a little weird about numbers, okay? I like numbers to feel complete. I like scores to be out of 5 or 10 or 100. My obsession with complete numbers is a major reason why I chose 10 parameters. But it also makes sense mathematically. 10 parameters, each rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So the final score is calculated out of 100, which makes it easy to come up with a rating out of 10 or 5. And I can honestly say that it is as objective and methodical as I can make it. And now, number three, the most important question: what is the system and how does it work? LINEDSCAPE is an acronym for the 10 parameters that I rate a book on. I use the same parameters for books of all genres, fiction as well as non fiction. Of course, I chose the labels for the parameters in a way that would allow me to create an acronym that is meaningful. I played a little bit with them. So, what are the 10 things that I look for in a book? Number one is P for plot. The plot or the storyline is obviously the most important parameter of a book. It must be strong. The way the book is laid out, the flow of the narrative, the twists and turns, a satisfying finish are all important factors in how the book takes me, the reader, on the journey from beginning to end. That applies to both fiction and non fiction. Even if it's a self help book, there has to be a solid plot line. Number two, C for characters. Obviously, the characters in a story are just as important as the story itself. I like my characters to be well fleshed out and realistic. Even if it's a fantasy, I like the characters to be believable. And unless the story demands that they do a 180-degree turn, I like them to be consistent. I like feeling as if I know them. I don't have to like them. It would be difficult to like Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter or Lady Catherine de Bourgh from Pride and Prejudice, but they're believable and I can see them in my mind when I read about them. That brings me to the third parameter. Number three is D for descriptions. Whenever a book is adapted into film or television, most people say, I like the book better. Why is that? Because a book gives us a sketch that we readers fill in with color based on our imagination and our interpretation. You read about a bakery with an outdoor cafe, and you start seeing pastries in the window and smell the aroma of freshly baked bread wafting in the air. The descriptions in the book are what make the characters, emotions, events, the setting, the atmosphere, the book itself come alive in our mind. Doesn't it happen to you that sometimes when the book is outstandingly good, you go back and reread portions just for the pictures it conjures in your mind? That's the power of descriptions. And that is brought about by point number 4, L for language. Some authors have a matter of fact staccato style of writing. Some are flowery and verbose. Some write with a tongue in cheek humor. Some are sarcastic. What appeals to me may not appeal to you, and vice versa. For that matter, what appeals to me today may not appeal to me 2 years from now, because that keeps changing. But in my opinion, whatever the style, the writing should have a flow. The language should match the plot. And you may think I'm the grammar police, but I cannot stand typos and shoddy editing. I don't sit in judgment of a book brandishing a smoking wren and mutton, but a well written, well edited, well formatted book tells me that it's a labor of love, and then I believe it deserves my respect as a reader, even if I don't like what the book says. Number 5, S for sense. Sometimes stories jump all over the place without logic. Sometimes you feel that things have just been conveniently wrapped up in a haphazard manner. You read something and you think to yourself, what nonsense. Books are about imagination and creativity, and I have no problems with talking cats or flying fish if the story demands it. However, creative license is one thing, and irrational leaps in the story are another thing altogether. Even if it's sci fi, fantasy, satire, whatever the genre, give me logic within the genre. Number 6, E for engagement. Does the book make me wonder what's going to happen next? Where is this going? Does it pique my curiosity? A book doesn't have to be a murder mystery to do that. How involved did I get in the book? Did I feel for the characters? Did I cry? Did I laugh? Was I disgusted, ecstatic, scared? I've read books that have had no suspense, no mystery, and yet I was hooked. Engagement is about how the book grips you and pulls you into itself. Number 7, N for novelty. Does the book have something different, or is it a rehash of the same old, same old? For example, there must be millions of books written around the Second World War. Yet, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank is different from All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, is different from The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. That elusive something could be the story itself, the writing style, the language, the treatment, the plot twist, whatever. Novelty is the quality that sets a book apart from similar books, and a book must have it. Number 8, A for aesthetics. We know that aesthetics is about pleasing appearance or effect. The look and feel, readability of font of a physical book, the cover design, the blurb, etc. In fact, some of these are things that make you pick up a book when you know nothing about it. For an audiobook, aesthetics would also be about the quality of storytelling, how appropriate the voice is for the content, the inflection, the emotion in the narration, the pace of reading, and so on. For me, aesthetics is a catch all term for everything other than the actual content of the book. Whatever the format, aesthetics is about the presentation of the book. Number 9, I for impact. This one is a very personal parameter. I love books that move me. And I also mean that literally, whether it's fiction or non fiction. I love books that push me to take some kind of action. After reading The Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, I was inspired to declutter my house. It's an ongoing process, I'm not done yet, but it has changed my life for the better. Sometimes you come across a reference to something you've never heard of before, and it spurs you to find out more, to read up on that particular thing, and it enhances your knowledge. Sometimes some books give you a completely different way of looking at something. If a book spurs me into action, if it enhances my knowledge, if it challenges my mind, if it makes me rethink my position about something, then it rates high on my impactometer. Impact is about the difference a book has made in my life. Number 10. Another E for enjoyment. Let's not confuse enjoyment with amusement. Some books are difficult to read, like The Last Girl by Nadia Murad. But whether the book made me laugh or cry, did it make me forget everything else and lose myself in its pages? Was it worth my time? When I put it down, how much did I wish I could unread it and start all over again? The enjoyment parameter rates the complete experience of reading a book. Those were the 10 parameters of my LINEDSCAPE system for reviewing and rating books. A landscape is a picture or a section of a vast scene that can be seen from a single viewpoint. Two people looking at the same scene from two different vantage points could have two completely different interpretations of the same scene. Similarly, you and I could have completely different views about the same book. My reviews are my viewpoint of a book, hence, I call it my LINEDSCAPE. I rate each parameter on a scale of 1 to 10, add up all 10 scores, and then divide the total by 20 to get a star rating out of 5. I do rate half stars. For example, if a book scores 66 on 100, that gets converted into 66 divided by 20, 3.3, which is 3.5 stars. Here's what my star conversion chart looks like. Less than or equal to zero point 0.5 is zero point 0.5 stars. More than 1 up to 1.5 is 1.5 stars, and so on up to 5. So now you know how my LINEDSCAPE reviewing system works. Comment below and tell me what you think about the system. Reading itself is a very subjective activity where, right from whether you pick up a particular book or not to what you think about it, is influenced by your personal beliefs and feelings and life experiences. I've done my best to keep my reviews as objective and honest as I can so that my recommendations may help you in selecting your next read. I'd love to know your thoughts about books and reading. So please do like and comment on my videos and subscribe to my channel and share with your friends and family. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode of the Reading Lamp. Switch on, read on.